Welcome, my dear viewer, to Dr. Paul Kipcho YouTube channel. And today, I want us to discuss a few things, not necessarily a few things, but I want us to discuss something called fear. Fear. Because majority of us people, we remain where we are because of this animal called fear. And therefore, I thought it was good for us to discuss this thing called fear. If you are hearing me and you're alive, wondering whether how you'll die should not actually be a preoccupation in your brains, because as long as you came into this world, one thing is for sure, that one day you'll leave this world. So why should you spend so much time thinking on an issue whose outcome is known? That no matter what, at one point in time, we all leave this particular world. So why should you concentrate fear? Why should you think about that issue so much that it distracts your thinking in life, that it affects the way you think, that it affects the way you operate, that it affects your performance in life, that it actually puts you into very awkward position because of engrossing yourself into what we call fear? So I would suggest that in order for us people to move on and to continue to, and in order for us people to continue and to succeed in life, we are not supposed to spend so much time thinking about fear. I'll tell you this: we have got some young men who fear marrying because to them marrying means responsibilities. But you are left wondering, you are really left wondering, when will marriage not have with it what we call responsibilities? So you see, this aspect of fearing has made you not to make that bold step or moving to the next level because you see negative things from the beginning. And therefore, fear is one terrible thing that I would advise you to get out of it. Why should you fear in the first place? So you see somebody, as I've told you as I'm opening this particular discussion with you, you find somebody, most of the times, he or she is preoccupied with what we call death. That more often than not, you are thinking of how death will bring misery to you. And remember, the more you think about it, as long as some parents brought you forth into this particular world, that shouldn't be an issue to be preoccupying your mind, because in the fullness of time, it shall surely come. And the more you continue fearing about it, the more you lose what we call what it is that you can do today when God has given you the privilege of being alive. So why should you spend so much time fearing about it? So I've told you we have some men who don't want to marry because they fear responsibilities, Mr. John Washira. We have some men because they feel that they'll lose their freedom, because they hear that once you get married, there'll be what we call the reporting protocols. And remember, you're not the first one to marry. Some of us, we married many years ago, and we are still there in our marriages. And again, who will do it for you if you don't do it yourself? So can you see what fear makes us people not to do in life? You find somebody refusing even to get children because they start asking themselves, how will I be managing the affairs of this particular child? Forgetting, as you spend so much time thinking about that child that you have not even brought forth, yourself, you were at one stage of your life a child, and somebody took responsibility over your life. So why should you still again have this particular fear? We have some fear who fear going back to school. You cleared your first degree, and that is all that you talk about. And you fear going for masters, you fear going for PhD, for doctorate. Fear has deprived of many people's life opportunities because fear tells you to remain in the status quo. So I am telling you, my brothers and sisters, we must overcome this aspect of fear. Personally, this one thing that I know, and I thank God about it, I do not have to fear over things that I can't change. So because the moment you spend so much time thinking about the things that you can't change, then there you are. Some of us, we can't even board an aircraft because we mostly focus on what happened at Ethiopia, Bora International Airport. And the only thing that you know best how to say or talk about it, I wouldn't like to take a flight because those people who took the Ethiopian Airlines, they crash landed. Or maybe those people who took what we call the MSH, the Malaysian aircraft, they disappeared into the horizon. But then that does not mean, you see, I have been telling people, this aspect of fearing has made many people to remain poor. Let me first of all try to demystify this aspect of fear. Think about, for instance, Chris Ruby, who put up a 15-storied building along Mamagena Street by the name International Lifehouse. By virtue of him putting up that particular building there, it did not stop people who are called hooligans. It did not stop people who normally go on strike from still doing that. But how then do you live? How then do you survive? Life is a series of risks. You must kill this fear. And how to kill fear is doing what you fear most. So if you feel that you need to start a project, start it. Put your money there. Fine, you may take what we call a calculated move in terms of putting your money, but but against all odds, you must put your money there. So one of the things that you must do in order for you to succeed. So if you find somebody having been involved in an accident, what happens is that the car that comes to pick the casualties is basically an ambulance. And that ambulance, for information, will also be driven in the same loads where you have got people who normally drive like they're Basak. But then, are you telling us that we must have an aircraft all over, positioned at all occasions, that in the event you have an accident, you are airlifted? And again, who told you that even that process of airlifting you can't have a similar problem, an accident? So you should remove fear and maintain the biggest space in your mind, in your brains, should be the mind of optimism that things gonna work. I have seen people in my 30 years career who are really somehow confused with life because they assume that they fear almost everything. You do not want to leave your house because you fear there might be either a strike, there might be COVID, there might be ABCD. But then, how then do you survive? You can't create your own space in this world of God. The only thing that you can do is to open up the tentacles of your minds and accept that fear is part of our life, yes, but you cannot be confined in that cocoon of comfort or because of fear. No, you have to get out. And I'm telling you, even the tortoise with its shell, there comes a time when it extends its tentacles to be able to move. And the moment it extends its tentacles, it becomes very, very vulnerable to its prey, to its enemies. But then finally, it has to eat, it has to drink. Even gazelles that we see, even the wild animals that we see, and I'll give a perfect example of Masai Mara. They at one time have to take water. And as they drink water, remember we have those animals, those reptiles called crocodiles. And they normally they are in a bush when animals, when you are very thirsty, you can see this is water. And now there comes a time to make a decision. Do I die because of thirsty, being thirst, or do I consume this water and I take precautions? If I'm caught, so be it. And there comes a time when you see these animals, the oblivious of the danger that awaits them, they still have to take water. And secondly, think about a gazelle that is actually born in the wild. It knows, remember, they do not have a secluded place where they are actually nurtured until they start gaining what we call the strength to run away from the enemies. But of course, they have to survive. Those big gazelles that you see, they were born in the same environment where lions are, where cheetahs are, but they still survive. So if animals can be able to survive in those harsh conditions, what about us people with human brains, 100 million cells? I hate people who fear. So you have to accept it. Fear never goes away. There is no way that fear will ever go away. But it does not matter how strong you are. But one of the things that you must do is to ensure that you do what you can, take the precautions as you can, but do not remain in the same status. Identify what your name of your fear is. What do you fear most? Do you fear darkness? Do you fear either darkness? Do you fear road accidents? Do you fear air clashes? Do you fear what we call even political skirmishes? What do you fear most? And let me tell you, once you identify it, be honest with yourself. If you don't admit your fears to yourself, you can't leverage into courage. So one of the things that you must always do is that once you identify the fear that eats you, that affects you, then believe you me, now look for a way of confronting that particular fear. Because once you identify how to confront it, personally, I don't fear. Me, I don't fear anything. Because sure, even if I feared here the whole day, that one day I'll surely die. Have I avoided death by fearing it? You see, you can't. These are things that you can't avoid in life. So one of the things that you must do in your lifetime is to learn how to overcome that particular fear. So identify it. Number one, we said accept it. Accept that fear never goes away. Everybody has got his or her own personal fears. But then how accept it is there, but don't stay there, move on. Identify it. Point number 3, feel it. Yeah, feel it. The greatest mistake people make when dealing with fear is to try to think their way through it. There is no way that you can avoid fear in life. We all, at one time or another, are fearful of A, B, C, D. Sometimes I think about my children. Yes, I do think about them. But remember, my parents, who are since deceased, they thought about us when we were children, but they finally had to leave us. So God, nature has a way of handling things. So one of the things that we must do is to learn, sorry, to learn to feel it. We feel the fear, yes, but don't run away from it, because where are you learning to? Which planet are you going to? Like now, I've been telling people to invest with us at Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited. And some people have been coming up with so many theories. And believe you me, this fear of saying, how secure is our money? You have been out there. Some people, they come up with very nice, very well choreographed theories that what if I invest in a piece of land? Who had stopped you in the first place from doing that before Kebicho came in with his Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited? You know, people pretend to know, and pretenders are worse than mandlas. These are the people who always come up with ideas which we refer to as the back office ideas. Kibisho is telling us to invest this money this way. Why can't we invest it this way? Where were you before I came up with this particular idea? It is simply a manifestation of fear. Because, like, you know, when you take your money to whichever bank that you take, how are you the one managing that money? Are you the one managing the bank? No, but you still take your money to those banks. When you have to take money to your circle. You have to buy shares, yet you are not the epicenter of performance of that particular share. So fear should not stop you from doing what you need to do. Do what you need to do, leave the rest to God. When I say that people will be buying a share at 16,000 shillings at Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited, and you pay an unrefundable registration fee of 5,000 shillings, some people, of course, I'm a researcher, I'm actually a social scientist. I know how people talk out there. But those people who took the bold move today, they have made very many steps ahead so far. It's about actually feeling it. And I have told you the greatest mistake people make when dealing with fear is to think their way through it. You can't. There are things that you can't avoid. When you go to a hotel and you sit comfortably there waiting for food to be served, are you the one who cooked that food? Do you know whether they met what we call the hygienic standards that you'd wish? But you still take it. Why? Because you can't be all over in the world. So one of the things that we must do is that we must learn to overcome fear. The other thing is face it, confront it. One way of actually killing fear is confronting it and saying, well, whatever happens, let it happen. But I'm not going. You see, I remember, and I gave this particular case in one of my videos. We had a parent who had a child who had a brain tumor in South Africa. And this particular mother, when she took her child to hospital, she was told by the doctor, the neurosurgeons, and of course the cardiologists, the neurosurgeons, sorry for that we are going to ensure that we have got two options in this particular case. Option number one, if we don't operate on this child, the probability is 1 that the child is gonna die. However, if you operate on this particular child, this is what we call 50% chances of survival. So the mother was actually confronted with two options. Remember, both of them, they were fearful indeed. But the mother said, I would prefer the one that gives me what we call a probability of 50-50. And the child was operated on despite how sensitive the operation was. And the child survived. So if it was some of you looking at watching me right now on my YouTube TV, some of you would have said, I think I don't want my child to be operated on. The child would definitely have died. But now the child lived, and today she's one of the greatest pilots in the world. So face it, confront it. So don't just don't stick because you are fearful. You stick in that you can't leave your house. Why? Because many people, for instance, let's talk about Ukraine for 1 minute. What is happening in Ukraine? I've been seeing parents cry actually they are crying their children. They are holding their children. Sometimes they don't even know where they are going, but they have to take a step. They can hear the bombardments by the Russian government. But do you stick? You hear your neighborhoods have been bombarded. Yeah, the neighborhoods have been completely destroyed. Do you say that, Lord, we are going to remain here? It's better to walk away from. So face it, get out. Then practice it. Whatever it is that you fear, practice it. Practice it. What is it that you fear so much? So one of the things that makes me wonder is this aspect of people being so fearful. Me, I don't fear. When I was coming to this particular office and I was given the terms by the owner of the house, I did not fear where my money will be coming from. I haven't been here for the last 2 years and I have always paid my rent. I do not have any rent arrears. Why? Because God provides. If a lady gets quadruplets, 4 children at a go, she has only 2 breasts, but God has a way. God has made us to think outside the box. We even have milk called none. So God will always provide a solution to those people who go out of their way. So are you there and you have been fearing how you retire? Even if you spend a whole year thinking about your retirement and you're doing nothing about it, it will come and kill you as fast as it can. So the only thing that will make your retirement to be a little bit promising is by doing something today so that you can better your tomorrow. And I have told you on many occasions, and I'll never tire repeating this, that today is the tomorrow you're worried about yesterday. So if you do nothing again today, expecting things to be better tomorrow, you are actually, sorry to say this, an insane person. You are a mad person. There is no other way of putting it. You are completely mad. Because if you are doing nothing, and that is why Mr. Albert Einstein said these words, that the greatest madness, the greatest insanity is doing the same thing, same way, year in, year out, expecting different results. Yesterday, I spent more than 3 hours on Inoro FM talking about social capital. I took a lot of time telling people what social capital means. What does it entail? And for those people who hear the word social, then the word capital, you combine the two, they become social capital. You cannot be having friends who don't add value to you. I wish all of you became my friends because I have tried as much as I can. And I told you I paid school fees. I seriously paid a lot of school fees for me to have what I have. But I don't care. I'll continually tell you the information. If you consume it positively, so it benefits you, so may the name of God be glorified. If you just hear it and you ignore and you go back to doing things the way you do them, don't you worry. Choices have consequences. I have seen people, like now, I'll not mention her name, and she's a relative. Her child was sent home for school fees balance today, and I'm saying it before my maker. She's married, yes. She has a husband by name. I say a husband in quotes because I don't think anybody that God has blessed with good health would be suffering the same financial problems that people get posture to claim to have. It is not light. So the question is, you are there, yes, and you pretend to know a lot of things, yes, but you have not even helped your family members. You have not even helped your church. You have not even helped your community. You have not even helped your colleagues, and you think that you know. You those are the people who come in and they start actually demolishing what has been said by other individuals. So I'm saying that one of the things that we must do, ladies and gentlemen, is to ensure that we confront fear. Let us not make our lives miserable because of fear. Fear will never make us progress. Fear will never make us to invest money. And I have told you this, when you put your money into a bank account, it is not your father, it is not your daughter, it is not your son who manages that money. You have entrusted your money with other people. When you go to hospital, the person treating you is not your brother, is not your sister, is not your father, is not your mother, is not your cousin, whether first cousin or whatever, but you offer your body to that particular doctor and you tell him the problems that you're facing in order for him to give you a helping hand. Similarly, in life, we must appreciate that we must wake up from our comfort zones because majority of us, even watching me at this point in time, they are victims of fear. All the time you are fearing. Every time you are fearing. You have been in abusive marriage for more than 15 years. You have been in that particular marriage for more than 15 years. A very abusive marriage. And your fear has been, what will people say? Who are they in your life? Did God summon them in the boardroom to come and say, get married to this particular individual? Who are you? Why should you factor them in the first place? What role do they play in your life? Forget about what people say. Even those who are comfortably married today, they still get what we call shepe maneno from other people. They still get some kind of demotivation from some quarters, and more so from those people who are not so positive about life. So why should you think about what people will say? If you remove your children from a high school paying school, or sorry, a high or a very expensive school because your financial status has changed, why should you continually suffer because of what people will say about you? If they care about you, they should come and pay the school fees then on your behalf. So why should you factor them in your life? What business do they have in your life? Personally, I say I don't care. Even those people who say that Kebisho is plowed, that is their own problem. And I have no apologies to make whatsoever. If you think Kebisho is plowed, that is your problem. But I'm here sharing some information with you and telling you, why should you stick in a very abusive marriage? Get out of it. Why should you stick in abusive relationship? Get out of it, out of it. Just like you get, and I want to thank and appreciate those people who have the guts to make a decision. Get out of that abusive marriage. We have lost many Kenyans in those kind of abusive marriage, gender-based violence situations, and we have seen men and women who even some people, we have seen men strangling their children, and killing their wives, and wives killing their husbands. We saw the case in Migori where a man, God forbid, he shared the same name with me, Mwangi, who actually shot his wife 15 times and the wife was pregnant. There were some signs. The problem with us, people would not know how to read the red signs. We'd not have the capacity, we'd not have the antenna, we'd not have what we call the capacity, the ability to know when things are going haywire. Stop that dilly-dallying, stop that fear, kill that fear, get out of that comfort, get out of that disturbing position. Craft your other life, position yourself, get out. We have others who left those marriages and today they have made it. We have others, when their financial status changed, they had to change their children to those expensive schools to take them to where they can afford. Fine, we appreciate there will be psychological torture, but you have to do what we call the cost-benefit analysis. So at what cost are you maintaining those children there? You continually borrow. Immediately you suffer from what we call diabetes, either insipidus or mellitus, or you start suffering from what we call high blood pressure for no reason. Why? Get out. You're not the first one. You can't even enter into the Guinness Books of Records. So stop thinking about other people. Think about your life. Confront those fears personally, because nobody can come and fit into your shoes. Why do you get so disturbed? If you want to start a business, don't wait for people to come and give you approval. The only person who can give you what we call an idea is basically a business consultant who has got what we call the training background about what you're intending to do, but not go asking for other failures, because asking for a solution from a failure is going to give you a better failure process. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not fear life. Confront life. Do what you can. Work hard. Work smart. Plan your finances and be yourself and run your race. And I repeat again, run your race. Run your race. Avoid what we call what people perceive you to be. Their perception does not add any value to you. Even if people that said Kebisho is dressed today in a very good parliamentary blue suit, how does it positively impact on your life? How does it help you? If I'm wearing a very, very expensive watch, how does it help you? What value does it add to you? The best thing that you can do is to hear what I'm saying and do it and practice it, because I'm telling you, not from an ignorant point of view, but from a practical point of view. We have lost opportunities because of fear. We have lost making decisions because of fear. We have lost economically because of fear. So if you think of starting a business in Rumuruti, go to Rumuruti. After all, we have human beings there. Identify what it is that you can do in Rumuruti and do it. If you fail, don't you worry. Fail means first attempt in life. And of course, everybody will appreciate that you made an attempt. If it is in Nanyuki, go to Nanyuki. If it is Mombasa, go to Mombasa. If it is in Nyeri, go to Nyeri. If it is in Keno, go to Keno. But stop thinking about what people will say about you. As for me and myself, once again, I do not subscribe to anybody's philosophy. You must learn to be an independent thinker. You must learn to make decisions no matter what. And I give an example as I conclude. And I'll still go back to what we call this issue of Ukraine. Every jet fighter has one pilot. Every jet fighter has one pilot. And this jet fighter, why does it have only one pilot? It is because if you had a neighbor here and you started consulting him, before you do the consultation, you have already been shot. You have already been shot down. So it is given to you as an individual person so that you may make that particular individual decision at the most appropriate time. And I have repeatedly told you, my viewers, that it is in the moment of decision making that you shape your destiny. Some of us people, we remain stuck because we hold to old things. We hold to traditions. We hold to the old school of thought. That is not the thing. And if you want to, please can you open up your eyes? I told you the other day that as we speak right now, we have a human being who is surviving on a heart of a pig. If somebody told you it can be done based on where you come from, your locality and your way of perceiving things, you'd have thought it was difficult. These things are doable. They have been done. Nothing is so difficult. The only thing I want you people to maintain is positive mental attitude. Run your race. Overcome fear. Once you do that, success is guaranteed. Unless there's what we call some comments coming from other quarters, I tend to think that one marks the end of my talk today. Any comments are most welcome. Do we have anybody out there who would like? I can see that we have got Mr. John Washira tuned. Washira, I salute you. You have been one of my ardent followers and fans. I salute you. Moses Kemama, watching from Naivasha, you are a mentor to me. You have totally changed my mindset to a better one. I thank God for you. Thank you for your effort. May God bless you abundantly. And I pray that God will hear those nice prayers that you have made for me. Mothoni Wakamau, tuned from Ohio. Ohio. I have been to Ohio. Thank you so much, Madam Muthoni Wakamau. I don't know whether you have invested with us, Madam Muthoni Wakamau. Kindly talk to me. Drop me your email address. We see what we can do. We require to invest because old age is still coming. Thank you so much, Madam Muthoni Wakamau, all the way from Ohio. We go to Kamau Jamba Dito. May God bless you, Mr. Kebisho. Thank you so much. We go to Madam SK. You really sacrifice yourself in sharing wisdom for us. Personally, I have been following you. Your advices and teachings, it is not in vain. God bless you, Dr. Paul. Thank you so much, SAK. Then we come to this person called the Ignite Show. I'm blessed. I thank God. If you have been blessed and you've been able to clash fear, to face it, to feel it, to practice it, to identify it, to accept it, I thank you so much, the Ignite Show. Maybe that's a business name, but we still appreciate you. Charles Monene learned something new about fear. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Monene, wherever you are. May God bless you. I always admire, and I have repeatedly said this. Just like Dr. Miles Munro, my greatest mentor, said, I want by the time I'm leaving this world, maybe 100 years to come, God willing, it is at God's prerogative that I'll have given all that God has given unto me. I'll continually share this information. Muthoni Kamau, thank you very much for being a member. Thank you so much. You know, now members have become quite many, and I thank God for that. And as you can see, I was preparing your receipts again, and this one is a testimony of what we are doing. We thank God. Thank you so much, Madam Muthoni Kamau, for trusting me, having not even seen me physically. I salute you. That you confronted fear and you decided, come and buy. You are going to invest your money. I thank God for you. That is the kind of attitude I want. That is the kind of the oomph, the zeal, the vigor that successive people must have. Thank you so much, Madam Muthoni Wakamau. So I think at that point, any other comments? Maybe before I've been in this office since 8, and I'm now done now. I want to leave now to go and relax. Any other comments? I'm waiting for any other comments, but we thank God for you. Please make sure you don't become a prisoner of other people. Lead your life. Lead your life, no matter what. Lead your life. If your money is not sufficient, don't go to the most expensive suburbs. Live where you can afford. If you can't afford a Range Rover, if you can't afford a Prado, buy a Probox, it's a car. Buy a Fit, it's a car. Buy a Sienta, it's a car. Buy a Fielder, it's a car. Buy a Isis, it's a car. And after all, those people who think that you have bought a cheaper car, then they should bring you the bigger car they're thinking about. That's what I say. If you think that I'm wearing a cheaper suit, then I have no problem giving you my measurements and deliver it to my office. But you cannot come saying Kebisho is wearing maybe a cheaper suit, though it is not cheap, by the way. But you see, there are people who are actually wired to be so negative in their lives. They speak bad things. They find you, Madam Muthoni Wakamau, with a very nice hairstyle, either Cleopatra, Hot Water, Daniela, you have Fiesta, Extension, Ponytail, Calypso, Ghanaian, Jamaican, and they start giving you what you call very, very negative remarks. Leave them alone. Tell them it is your head. And if they think there is another style that should fit you better, they should concentrate on their own heads, not yours. They should mind their businesses. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Monene. You got a message in your inbox from me. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Monene. I'll look at it. I do not know whether you have sent in my, because I have got several phones. I don't know whether you have sent it here or here, but I'll check because I still have them here. So I think at this point, I want to hear any other comments. But I really thank God for you. Agnes Moshai, thank you, Dr. Thank you so much, Madam Agnes Moshai. Sometimes I prefer people saying from where they are watching me, but I thank God for you, Madam Agnes Moshai. I'll make sure I'll be giving you a lesson every day, not necessarily financial. I'm a financial expert, I'm a business expert, I'm a lawyer, I'm another. Should you wish to write books? I help people to write books. If you want to be mentored, talk to me. If you want to be coached, talk to me. I have done it and I'll never stop doing that until I die. I don't care what people say about me. That one, my friends, I'm reminding you. Do not worry. People have said many things, but they have not stopped me from being a lawyer, from being a professor, from being an author, from being a father, from being a mentor to many. So I thank God for all of you, especially those who subscribe to my thinking and my philosophy. I salute you. With those many, many remarks, ladies and gentlemen, RX Muturi, hi Dr. Kibicho. Hi Dr. Kibicho, would advise someone to invest in cryptocurrency. I have discussed that one in my previous videos, but for now, I wouldn't personally. You can see even the government of Kenya, the central bank governor, Dr. Patrick Joroge, he's trying to come up with what we call the digital currency. It's a very complicated field. We talk about blockchain technology. We talk about, there are so many of them. We talk about Bitcoins as part of cryptocurrency. But it's a very tricky thing. You never know. So for the time being, I wouldn't fast for comment on that. But remember, we have said you have to confront fear. There are those who invested when it was about 1 million Bitcoin, but now it has gone even to 4 million. Sometimes it goes to 3.5 million shillings value, but I'll not comment at this point. But you can be able to talk to me, Mr. RX Muturi. You can talk to me. You can actually inbox me or DM me on 0722 633 021. We can engage further on that. And at that point, ladies and gentlemen, I want to stop it at that. Thank you so much for watching me from wherever you are. Thank you for keeping me company. I'll continually share this information with you until I breathe my last. I'm one person who does not get discouraged by individuals. When I entered for my PhD class, the naysayers came telling me, Kibisha, you can't make it. Today, they're surprised. And I thank God for the head of state, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, for the honor that he gave me, head of state commendation, and I'm awaiting many more blessings from that particular front. With God, all things are possible. There is nobody that God created to be the benchmark of others. You can become the benchmark yourself. You can make it in life. Nobody was born a failure. The choices that we make defines our destiny. With those many, many remarks, do have a good evening. Those who are actually within our GMT time zones. Those who may be waking up right now, wherever they are, we thank God for you. May you have favor in Jesus' mighty name. May you have God's favor in Jesus' mighty name. Shalom, shalom, shalom.